Over a century ago, Royal Raymond Rife pioneered the use of targeted radio frequencies to destroy viruses. His discoveries were revolutionary. He developed microscopes capable of observing live viruses and identified specific frequencies that shattered them without harming surrounding tissue. But what happened next was sadly predictable. The American Medical Association attempted to buy him out, and when Rife refused, the medical establishment pivoted towards chemical drugs and antibiotics, more profitable and easier to control. His reputation was smeared, his lab was mysteriously burned down, and many of his colleagues died under suspicious circumstances. To protect the technology, some within Rife's inner circle persuaded him to obscure the exact frequencies, hoping to commercialize them later. As a result, most of the original research was lost or buried for decades. Now, a century later, we can recreate many of Rife's original frequencies from his surviving lab notes using modern ham radio transceivers. One such frequency, 11.78 MHz, was reported to target what he called the BX virus. But two critical technical questions remain. What kind of antenna should we use, and what kind of waveform is most effective? Rife originally used a phanotron gas tube, a plasma tube with angled electrodes that radiated a directional field. These tubes naturally produced harmonics, yielding a waveform closer to a square wave than a pure sine wave. But are these features essential? Let's examine the physics. It's the electric field directly, or induced from a magnetic field, not the visible light from the plasma, that does the biologic work. A gas tube is not required to produce light, just energy. Square waves are only necessary if your transmitter can't generate the actual target frequency, and you have to rely on harmonics to approximate it. For example, if the true effective frequency were 35.34 MHz, but your system could only generate 11.78, a square wave might help by introducing the third harmonic at 35.34. But if you can generate the correct frequency directly, a clean sine wave is preferable. In my own practice, I've used 11.78 MHz as a pure sine wave for decades, with consistently excellent results. No harmonics, no light, no plasma, just the right frequency and a powerful, properly delivered field. So what's the optimal setup? We don't need a glowing tube. We need deep tissue penetration and strong field induction. The best approach is to use an antenna that produces a powerful magnetic field, which then induces an electric field directly inside the body. That's how we achieve both strength and depth. Gas tubes can still work, but only if placed extremely close to the body. Even at just 1 inch away from a gas tube, the field strength drops to about 10% of its original power. And at 24 inches at typical usage distance, the effect can drop by as much as 60-fold. And yet, even those weak fields worked. That tells you just how powerful Rife's principle is. Most modern Rife machines still use gas tubes, but their power and penetration are limited. A well-designed magnetic induction antenna is dramatically more effective. To use this technology as I'm describing, you'll need a transceiver. I like the ICOM 718, altered to give you access to the entire frequency range. It's a workhorse of a transceiver, and being able to change 1 hertz at a time actually is useful. You'll find that changing as little as 10 hertz will give an entirely different effect to the person receiving the energy. You'll also want a quality antenna tuner. I like the Palstar HF Auto, power supply and cables, and of course our custom magnetic induction antenna. This setup can deliver up to 100 watts of clean, targeted energy. For those who need more, you can contact me and we can scale the system to higher power levels as needed. Also, if you're not going to operate in a Faraday cage, you can get 2 of our antenna and run them out of phase. This will give you strong local effects while canceling out their far-field RF effects, thus canceling out any interference with electronics or communications at a distance from your location. It's reasonable to ask what kind of testimonials I've seen. The challenge is that testimonials, pre- and post-viral counts, and pathology slides would all be considered medical claims. So if I had such things, I couldn't legally share them with you. This technology is sold for research purposes only. If you have any questions, feel free to contact us. Take care.